In this problem, we're once again looking at solving a system of equations by elimination. The difference between this problem and ones we've looked at in the past is that this problem involves fractional coefficients and fractional constants. Let me just say that if you don't mind working with fractions and you wanted to eliminate variables using the fractions, that's always an option. But the way that we're approaching it in this course is that we're going to eliminate the fractions, and we do that by multiplying each equation by the LCD of the fractions in that equation, the least common denominator. So in our first equation, we have 1/3 and 1/2 as our fractional coefficients. The least common denominator of 3 and 2 is 6. So we're going to multiply both sides of this equation by that least common multiple of 6. With our second equation, we have a denominator of 4 and a denominator of 2. The least common multiple of those two numbers is 4. So we're going to multiply both sides of the equation by 4. So 6 times 1/3 is 2x minus 6 times 1/2 is 3y equals 1 times 6 is 6. And then 4 times 3/4 is 3x minus 4 times y is 4y equals 5/2 times 4, that equals 10. You could do this as 4 times 5 is 20 divided by 2 is 10, or 4 divided by 2 is 2 times 5 is 10. And now we're back to the same type of problem that we've looked at in the past. We're going to need to eliminate one of the variables. So we want to look at what can we multiply each one of these equations by in order to eliminate one of the variables. I'm going to look at x. You could choose to eliminate y if you wanted to, but I'm going to eliminate x. We want the least common multiple of 3 and 2 is going to be 6 again. But now we're wanting to multiply each one by what it needs to be multiplied, each equation by what it needs to be multiplied by, in order to have opposite signs on x and the same coefficient. Same coefficient other than they're opposites of one another, the negative of one another. So how do we get 6 for 2? We would multiply by 3. So I'm multiplying this first equation by 3. With our second equation, I'm going to go ahead and multiply by the negative so we have an opposite sign. So instead of 6, I want -6, so we can just add the equations. So I want -2. So I'm going to multiply both sides by -2. When we do that, we end up with 3 times 2x is 6x, minus 3 times 3y is 9y, equals 6 times 3, which is 18. -2 times 3x is -6x. -2 times -4y is plus 8y, equals 10 times -2 is -20. And then we're simply going to add the equations. The x's are eliminated. They cancel. 6x minus 6x is 0, or 6x plus -6x. -9y plus 8y is -y. And then 18 plus -20 is -2. Dividing both sides by -1, we get y equals 2. Now we'll substitute y equals 2. You can use either equation. I'm going to use both equations. So 1/3 x minus 1/2 times 2 equals 1. 1/3 x minus 1/2 times 2 is 1, equals 1. Add 1 to both sides, we get 1/3 x equals 2. And now we'll multiply both sides by 3. And we get x equals 6. Now let's substitute it into the other equation as well, just to cross our t's and dot our i's. So 3/4 x minus 2 equals 5/2. add 2 to both sides. I'm going to go ahead and put it over the common denominator 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2, so plus 4 halves. That leaves us with 3/4 x equals 9 halves. Now we'll multiply both sides by the reciprocal of 3/4, which is 4/3. And we end up with x equals, again, 6. And we can simplify this a little bit before multiplying. 2 divided by 2 is 1, 4 divided by 2 is 2, 3 divided by 3 is 1, 9 divided by 3 is 3, and then 3 times 2 equals 6. So the solution to our system of equations is 6, 2. Because we got x equals 6 and y equals 2. Now we'll check that solution by making sure that both equations end up making a true statement with those values. So 1/3 times 6 minus 1/2 times 2. We want to know, does that equal 1? So 2 minus 1, does that equal 1? 1 does equal 1, so that checks. And we'll plug it into our other equation, 3/4 times 6 minus 2. We want to know, does that equal 5 halves? So we can simplify this a little. That's 9 halves minus, let's go ahead and make this 4 halves. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Does that equal 5 halves? And we do get 5 halves equals 5 halves, so that verifies our solution as well. So the solution to the system of equations 1/3 x minus 1/2 y equals 1, and 3/4 x minus y equals 5 halves is 6, 2. And again, we got there by first eliminating the fractions in both equations, then multiplying each equation by what we need to in order to eliminate, in this case, the x variable, solving for y, substituting what we solved for y into, you can use either equation, I used both just to verify that we end up with the same solution to get x equals 6, and then we check to make sure that the solution works in both equations. So the solution to our system of equations is the point 6, 2.